It was a late one on the West Coast, but the Cubs do some damage in LA to open up their series against the Dodgers with a win 10-4 the final. Is it a little too late for the Cubs to start beating good teams? What needed to happen earlier in the season? Is there anything this Cubs team can do to squeak into the playoffs as they're still chasing 5 games? That and more on this edition of the Cubs Baseball channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Get in that comment section. Let us know how you feel about this team and what you think is coming next. But for now, here's your invitation to our show. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Cubs Baseball channel. My name is Anthony Pasquale. You can find me on Twitter right there at ant_Pasquale3. The Cubs played a late one last night, one of those West Coast games that started at 9 Central Time, finished up right around the midnight hour. But the Cubs got the win over the Los Angeles Dodgers 10-4. They jumped on the Dodgers early, put up 3 runs in the first, scored another in the fourth, then gave up 2 in the fifth. They were up 4-2. Then a 3-run sixth helped them take a 7-2 lead, gave up 2 more in the bottom of the seventh inning. And then the Cubs added even more offense, 1 in the eighth and 2 in the ninth to win it 10-4. But the big storyline of the day is the former Dodgers, Cody Bellinger and Michael Busch, doing some major damage. The pair combined for 7 hits, 6 RBIs, and 2 homers. Cody Bellinger went 2 for 4, 2 runs scored, 3 runs driven in, and a walk. He had a homer in the first inning to open up the scoring. Michael Busch added an RBI single later in that inning and then also hit a 2-run homer himself. A really strong game out of both of these guys. For Bellinger, it's returning to a place that he did so much, right? Rookie of the Year, MVP, won a World Series there. So he comes back with a lot less to prove, but just like, hey, you guys moved on from me when I was injured and it wasn't looking pretty. And I want to stick it to you guys because I'm a better player than you thought I was when you let me go. On the other side with Bush, never really got a chance to prove who he was in LA. So he goes back there with a chip on his shoulder as well to try to remind them, hey, this is what you let go of, and this is what the Cubs gained. So both of those guys did really good work against the Dodgers back when they played in Chicago back in April. And here you see them taking off again to lead the Cubs to the victory. They both contributed in a big way. The rest of the offense was good as well. Nico Horner, Pete Crow-Armstrong also had a pair of hits. Isaac Paredes had a run driven in. Miguel Amaya had a 2-out, 2 RBI single. And that makes 7 times in the last 17 games that the Cubs have scored 10 runs. Happened only 4 other times the rest of the season, according to Christopher Kamka, who is one of the best statisticians that you can find on the Cubs beat, I believe, formerly of CSN Chicago and now with Marquee Sports Network. The Cubs poured it on against the Dodgers. And the thing that was kind of telling to me about this offense clicking is the fact that it happened late in the game, even once they scored that initial onslaught, to be able to take the Dodgers punch back and to give them a better punch in the right direction was cool to see from the Cubs offense that struggled a little bit at home this weekend against the Yankees, only scoring 2 runs in the 3 games, only putting up 8 hits. But on the road, the Cubs have been on fire, going back to that series against Miami at the end of August. The Cubs scored 14 against Miami, 18 at Pittsburgh, 9 at Pittsburgh, 14 at Pittsburgh, 14 at Washington, and now 10 at the Dodgers. So they're pouring it on. I think Bellinger said after the game, we're raking on the road. Hopefully the Cubs can continue to do just that as they continue to progress through this season. Only 18 games left, right? They've got 2 more against the Dodgers, 3 against the Rockies, all on the road this week. That's 5. Then they have a 7-game stretch against the A's and the Nationals. That puts them at 12. Then one final road trip to Philly for 3 more. That's 15. And then 3 at home against the Reds to end the season. That's 18. The Cubs currently are 74-70. So let's say you go 500 in the last 18. You finish up the season 83-79. Obviously, any better, you keep going up. Any worse, you keep going down. But a 500 finish from here puts the Cubs at 83-79, which coincidentally is the exact same record that they ended the season with last year. Not a whole lot of improvement onto this year. There's been times where it looked like it was better. There's been times where it looked like it was worse. And I think the bottom line of that means it hasn't been good enough. The Cubs need to improve, need to keep taking steps forward and build toward a better future. It looks like Jed Hoyer is going to be the man in charge. So we'll see what tricks up his sleeve are in store for this winter. But one piece of the future that seems to be quickly rising through the Cubs system is Cam Smith. He recently got promoted to Double-A. Was drafted just a few months ago, flew through low A ball and high A ball, absolutely tearing the cover off the ball. He had a stretch of 6 straight games with a homer, opened up his high A experience with a couple of base knocks. I think he had a triple in there. The dude is just raking, and a guy that the Cubs hope to fixture into their future plans relatively soon with this quick of a rise. The thing is, they've been drafting a lot of infielders and a lot of second baseman, third baseman types, Cam Smith, Matt Shaw, James Triantos, just to name a few guys that are coming up through that system. BJ Murray is another guy who was pretty highly ranked not too long ago in the Cubs prospect pool. But they also just acquired Isaac Paredes. They traded Christopher Morel to the Rays to acquire him. And, in theory, make him the third baseman of the future as he's still young and under control for quite some time. So it'll be interesting to see how those positions shake out, if the Cubs need to make a trade to free up a lane for a guy to get to the pros, or if they deal from their minor league pool of prospects to try to acquire, maybe a better catcher or better starting pitching or somebody at the back end of the bullpen. We'll see. But Jed Hoyer certainly has his work cut out for him. The Cubs currently in second place in the NL Central, gaining some ground between them and the Cardinals, between second and third. Still 5 games back at the NL wild card. I was checking the scores yesterday. I saw the Braves lost 1-0 to the Reds, and I was like, ooh, maybe the Cubs can pick up a game tonight when they play the Dodgers. But then the Mets come out and beat who they're playing. So the Cubs pick up a game against the Braves yesterday, but they do not against the Mets. So they're still chasing 5 with 18 games to go. 4 games over 500, just a 1.1% chance to make the playoffs. Cubs against the Dodgers again tonight. A really exciting matchup, especially for those baseball fans in Japan. It's Shota Imanaga, who is 12-3 on the year with a 2.99 ERA. Threw a combined no-hitter his last time out. Seems to have fallen a little bit out of the Rookie of the Year race with Paul Skeens and Jackson Merrill kind of ironing out the top 1 and 2, but an absolutely sensational rookie year from Imanaga, and he's up against Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who was the Dodgers' big-ticket free agent signing, aside from Shohei Ohtani. I know, crazy that they got both of them still, right? But he'll be pitching against the Cubs. He's 6-2 on the year with a 2.92 ERA, fresh off the injured list. So hopefully the Cubs can greet him warmly like they did when they got to face him the last time around. He pitched pretty well against the Cubs back in April. So we'll see if things are different here. Imanaga against Yamamoto should be a really exciting matchup for a Cubs team that is just trying to keep stacking wins and create some chaos toward the end of September and hopefully get to play in October. But guys, thanks so much for joining us on the Cubs Baseball channel. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, and on TikTok, as we're always talking Cubs on those other platforms as well. But for now, thank you guys for joining us. Keep liking and subscribing, and hopefully we'll be talking to you guys after another Cubs W. Go Cubs.